Blog Talk Radio.
So, I forgot what day it was for a second there, probably because it's summertime. It is Friday, and this is my Friday edition of Sin's Chat Corner. I realize that I've been incognito and or missing, but if you follow me on Facebook or other social media, you realize that I've been to New York City, I've been to you name it, and I've been there. I mean, it's just been absolutely insane, to say the least. So, unfortunately, I haven't had time to do my show. Today, we're doing a lovely 30-minute presentation with Parker Love Bowling. I'm so excited to be interviewing her. First of all, because anytime that I meet actors or actresses that are young and coming up and who look like her, I have to tell you, I'm just so excited. So, instead of me babbling on and on, let's get Parker on the line and start our interview. Is this Parker?
Hi.
Hi. I have to tell you something right off the bat before we start. I prefaced in my description of my show. Okay. In my show description today, I mentioned that you look like a young Rita Hayworth. Would you concur with that?
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you.
It's so true. I mean, have you looked at yourself? I mean, obviously you look at yourself, but do you know what I'm saying? You have that look, sort of that Joan Crawford / Betty Grable / Rita Hayworth sort of look. Is that done purposely?
Yeah, I get Olivia de Havilland a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, wow. Very impressive, I have to say. Well, yes, you have that. You do. You have that look and that style and that charisma about you. And so I had to ask right off the bat if you're doing that on purpose, because I know obviously you're an actress. And so I also know that you're a fan of the old Hollywood movies, which I totally am on board for that. Way, way, way excited about that stuff. So I have to say, if you and I were sitting around one night and we were watching an old Hollywood movie, what would some of your favorites be? Or should I say some of the heroines that you parallel yourself after?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. My favorite movie is What a Way to Go. It's 1964,
Okay.
Shirley MacLaine.
I like Shirley MacLaine.
It's really good.
Okay, I gotcha. Now, have you done actually, or do you have an interest in doing, because I know obviously you're involved with the movie making side of things, do you find that you're going to eventually do either a black and white movie or an older vintage style movie, or have you written something like that yet?
I've written a lot of stuff like that, but I don't really like to say, like, specific time periods that it is. It's just kind of like a fantasy world.
Okay, I gotcha.
If that makes sense.
And it kind of does. I'm curious because you love it so much. Like some actors, I have a friend of mine who's a director, John Gallagher, for instance. He loves the older movies, but he has yet to shoot an older movie, meaning where he shoots it and he's the director and he acts in it. So would this be a project of yours where you would just direct and you wouldn't be in it, or would you be the lead as well as the director in something like that?
I feel like it'd be too much to be a lead, but definitely a supporting role.
Okay, I gotcha. Wonderful. Okay, good. Well, I'm excited for that because I found out some things about you that I didn't know before I talked to you. Like, first of all, let's go way back to the very beginning, because Parker is a little bit younger than I am. I am mid to late 40s, as much as I hate to admit it. So Parker's a little bit younger than I. So her career is first starting out. So I want you to take us back a little ways and just talk to me a little bit about when you first started out. Was acting something that you really loved, or was it more the journalistic? Because I see that you love journalism. Or were you more geared to the writing thing? So take us back a little bit to younger days, and how did you decide to go the path that you've taken now?
Well, I've always loved being in front of the camera, but definitely writing was more a priority of mine before.
Okay, I gotcha. No, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I got into acting because my sister made a movie for Trauma Entertainment, and I just saw how it all went down, and, like, it was filmed in my backyard on 16 millimeter, and I just thought it was really cool, so it kind of inspired me.
I gotcha. And did you have formal education, meaning have you gone to School of the Arts, et cetera, or you kind of have had life experience versus formalized training through school?
Yeah, I've never had any acting training, but it's something like my sister and I always did when we were little, like make little movies and stuff like that.
Oh, how cool is that? Yes, that's right. We're going to be talking about your sister, as a matter of fact, but I kind of wanted to keep you in the spotlight here as far as that goes. So here you are, little Parker. And, okay, so this is another question I've been dying. Now, folks, I've been watching her for, weeks on Instagram. And so you see this name right off the bat, and it's Parker Love Bowling. And so the natural tendency would be to say to you, so apparently Parker loves bowling, and that's how she got her name. So legitimately, is this how you got your name, or was there another way to this?
Oh, no, that's all. It's just, my sister, she was 2 when I was born, and she came up with my middle name. Like, my parents asked her, like, what they wanted my middle name to be. So that's how that happened.
Oh, my God, look at that. That is so cool, actually, because it's a very unique and very different name, obviously. Just so you guys know, obviously, her, in case you don't know, your sister's name is Kansas, which I think is so cool. You guys have you have very unique names, which is a perfect segue into.
Thank you.
Well, we have to do a parallel, however, because I understand, folks, those of you that are young and you've been looking at my page and thinking, is that Parker girl single? I'm here to tell you that word on the street is you have a boyfriend. You do have a boyfriend. So we want to talk about your boyfriend a little bit because he's kind of nice, and he says the sweetest things about you, and it's so cute. And I see you, too, on Instagram, and I'm like, oh, look at her and look at him. It's so cute. So tell us who your boyfriend is, because I already know, but the rest of the world doesn't. So talk a little bit about Cal. Tell us a little bit about him and what we don't know about him, and how well you guys work together.
Where to begin?
That's what he said, too. I can see you blushing all the way through the phone. That's so cute.
Yeah, Calvin's great.
He is. He's terrific. Have you guys worked in a project together? Or no, you haven't, right? Or have you?
Oh, we write together a lot.
You do? Okay, gotcha.
Like
I wanted to just get that.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
Would you be willing to work with him on a project, like together?
Yeah, of course.
Well,
we've
only because sometimes
together before.
Well, right, but you know how it is when you're a significant other. Some people, of course, prefer to work with their significant other, and some people are like, you know what, this is just a little too much together as far as that goes. But you guys are just the cutest thing. And we don't want to forget to mention this. I'm just going to take my 5 seconds to say this because Cal Madsen, of course, obviously I met on Instagram, which led to meeting Parker, of course, which led to Cal coming on my show and now you coming on my show. And to those of you who I haven't said this for the 75th time, Madsen Woodwork, Cal Madsen, of course, we want to talk about Madsen Woodwork for like 3 seconds.
Of course.
Facebook page, Madsen Woodwork, at Madsen Woodwork on Instagram. I've ordered my box. I don't know whether the rest of you haven't ordered your box, your lock case, your jewelry box, etc. He does fabulous work for a young man. He's a musician. I have his music. I have his information. I'm going to Las Vegas with him and Parker in exactly almost 1 week, as a matter of fact. So I'm super, super excited. So Instagram, Madsen Woodwork, Facebook, Madsen Woodwork. Cal Madsen is spelled Kalmadsen, and it just so happens to be Parker's significant other. And it's so cute and lovely. And I'm so excited to meet you guys. So that's all about Cal, so we don't want to talk about him anymore. Not that we don't love him, but it's about you. Now, I found it interesting that your mom originally was part of the Derby Dolls. And I know that you kind of got involved in that whole thing. So tell me a little bit about what that experience was like.
Oh yeah, she just started because my dad he's in a band like with some of his friends, and like one of the guys who did it, and he like brought us all to a game. I was like really little at this point, really cool. So she like got a flyer and she started going to practice, and then they started a junior league. This was when I was like really little, like 10 and 11. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Oh, that sounds exciting. Well, not to mention the fact, weren't you a little bit nervous? Because that's a lot of physical activity, right? So I'm guessing that you have to really know how to rollerblade or roller skate really well. I mean, does it take a lot of work to actually get into the league or to participate with something like this?
The practices are a commitment because it's a long drive and it's like really early in the morning, some of the practices. But the roller skating part, I never knew how to roller skate before, but it was like really easy to me. It kind of caught on really fast. Oh,
how cool is that? Well, not to mention the fact, is there an injury element involved? Like if people are listening and they're like, this would be totally fun and cool to do. How accident prone are people?
You get knocked around. Yeah, you get knocked around a lot, but there's a lot of like rules about it. But yeah, you definitely get knocked around. But there's like doctors at games, but.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
That's got to be exciting nonetheless, because how many people can say they participated in something like that? And it's a nice resume builder, too, because you're like, oh, I did this, which is awesome.
Yeah.
One of the things that if you look at her picture, if you just go to Instagram or look at her IMDb profile, you're going to find a woman who's striking, as I mentioned in the beginning of this interview, striking in looks. Oh, I can see that blush. She's so cute, isn't she? And she's so young, and she's like, oh, no, I'm not. And I'm like, oh, yes, you are. I know because I'm old. Both of us have another parallel in that we have done modeling before. I know that you have done modeling before. of all the different types and people that you've worked with, talk to me a little bit about, because some of my audience is of the younger crowd, like 25 to 30 years old. If there's somebody that's looking to get into that modeling career, what would you suggest to them? What do you enjoy about that path?
Well, I'm not with an agency or anything. I just do it for, like, random, like, people that contact me about it. But it's a lot of fun. You just, I don't know, like, the specific photographer that I enjoyed working with the most, but, yeah, I've been in, like, Purple Magazine and Outre Magazine and stuff like that, just because, like, I know the photographers and they just wanted to take my photo. I don't know.
Oh, no, I understand, definitely. And do you
yeah,
find
I guess
that...
it's just who you know.
Have you found that by doing the modeling, as far as that goes, you become more recognizable? Does it make it easier in terms of, like, let's say, for instance, if you want to get an acting gig, do people recognize you and know who you are on the basis of your modeling usually? Or have you been able to just luck out and get these parts, meaning as you keep learning and doing more films?
I don't know. I've never had anyone really recognize me from that. Like, some people off the street will be like, oh, I follow you on Instagram, and I'll be like, oh, okay. But no one's really been, like, come up to me about my modeling because I haven't done that much of it.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Well, I'm shocked. Well, I'll have to change that. I know people in L.A. Listen, anybody that's listening in L.A., you should photograph this girl because she's so pretty, and she blushes, and it's so sweet. I think it's so awesome. That's just my personal opinion, though. But, okay, we want to switch gears a little bit because I know you're a native of L.A., so you've lived in California your whole life. I'm curious because of that, because you have a love of, you've done the modeling and you do the acting, of course you're a writer. Have you ever had that bug? Because me personally, as I told Cal, I'm like, I'm so not an L.A. fan. I'm like, if you invite me to come to L.A., sure, I'll come to L.A. and I'll see you. But the reality is I'll run to New York City in a heartbeat, which is just where I was. So I'm curious, when it comes down to you pursuing some of these things, do you find yourself ever gravitating towards wanting to go to New York or Chicago and kind of expand your horizons a little bit, or do you think you'll find yourself planted in L.A.?
I feel like for what I want to do, LA is probably the best place for it.
Okay.
I know growing up, like, for a while I wanted to live in New York, like, do the whole journalism thing more, like, seriously, but I feel like I can do it all here. And, yeah.
And the weather's better because it's probably like 800 there. Well, what's the weather like right now? Right here, it's not bad. It's like, I think it's like almost 80 today. You guys get pretty nice weather, don't you, in your part of town?
Yeah, it's 68 right now.
Ooh, you're cooler than me.
It's kind of
wow.
cloudy.
That's kind of a surprise. Look at that. Well, you guys have weather nice all year round, so I'm not going to complain too much because when I'm freezing and it's 30, it'll probably be 70 over there. So you guys get the best of all that good stuff. That's awesome. Now, I know that obviously in the past you have done some work writing, so we want to talk about, are you contributing to different periodicals or publications right now, or what's the status of your writing? What are you doing in that area?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
Right now I'm just working on writing scripts.
Got it. Okay. Anything that you can talk about or anything that we might want to hear about or anything you can share with us without giving away too much? Because we're excited. We like hearing about an upcoming film.
Okay. There's, like, scripts right now that I just finished that I'm planning on shooting soon. One of them is kind of like a Freudian thriller.
Okay.
And the other one is like a psychedelic western.
Did you say psychedelic?
Yeah.
I'm like, psychedelic western. Now that's kind of intriguing and interesting and unusual. Okay. That's exciting. Actually, just hearing that, I'm like, okay, I want to hear more, obviously. Now, because you do independent film, I want you to talk a little bit, excuse me, because a lot of my audience are individuals who are either young, up-and-coming filmmakers or veteran filmmakers, or most are in the industry. So let's say somebody's sitting at home, they're listening to you right now, and they're thinking, I want to go out and shoot a movie tomorrow. I want you to talk a little bit about your experience, just in terms of, I think some people think that it's very easy to make a film, meaning, oh, you just get a bunch of money together, assuming you can get a bunch of money together and find some actors, etc. Tell us a bit about your experience, and meaning some of the, maybe the perils or some of the pluses about doing filmmaking, because I think people may not have the right concept necessarily of how hard it might be to get your film produced and done. Make sense?
The hardest part about a film is definitely finding a producer or financing for it. But if you just wanted to make it and then pass it around, like, the only thing that really costs money is location. You have your own costumes and your friends in it. It's just like
Okay.
the literal film, if you want to shoot on film. But if not, I say just for it and shoot it and pass it around to whoever you can.
Of course. And clearly it goes without saying because there's so many people that are out there trying to make independent film. It's very competitive. So I'm curious about the market in LA because obviously I'm more comfortable and I spend much more time in New York City. So I see what the market's like for making film. Do you ever find yourself frustrated because you're in competition with so many other filmmakers, or do you feel confident you have a product that might kind of outshine, or not necessarily outshine, but just be able to stand next to some of the bigger productions?
I don't really ever feel competition. I more just focus on what I'm doing and how I can make it better.
I like that. That's a great attitude. Yeah. I love that. And that is. And you have to have that attitude. In your business, you know that you have to be positive and you have to be confident, of course. Now,
yeah, of course.
Kansas is in the business, obviously, so I gather that she's been really instrumental in helping you or guiding you. What's the best piece of advice your sister has ever given you in terms of pursuing your career attributes or pursuing things in this business?
I don't know. She's kind of just like, she doesn't have someone else to like give you money for it, like just start, which is actually pretty good advice, I think. You
think so? Well, you get 50 million pieces of advice from 50 million different people, of course, and success is measured in different ways, of course, by different people. So I guess if I were to ask you, what does the word success mean to you? What does that mean? Meaning, at what point do you feel that you're going to be happy with what you've done? Are there certain goals or things that you want to accomplish, let's say, in the next 5 years?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would like to make enough money just to support myself, really. It doesn't have to be a lot, you know? And
I know.
And I would like to get some of my films made that I'm working on and send them around and see what I can do with them and stuff like that. I don't really have any. I'm not really sure yet.
No, I understand. That's okay. And you're still young yet, so you have time to think about that, obviously. Might there be getting married around 25? Just throwing that out there. I had to do that. Because I'm not so sure where you stand on that. I'm kind of excited. I'm like, is she going to say yes or is she going to say no? Or is she going to say, I don't know? My guess was I don't know. You are pretty young
I don't
yet.
know.
And you're still kind of, right. You have to carve out your career, obviously, and all that good stuff. Okay, so I have to ask you for a bit of advice because you have a little experience in an area that I have yet to delve in face-to-face, meaning that as I understand it, I'm going to be interviewing Cal's father one day, which would mean I'd be meeting him one day. So any big tip on I'm a little afraid of him. I'm not going to lie. Cal's dad, Mr. Madsen, Michael Madsen, Cal's dad. So I want a little advice because it's like you always want to try to impress somebody, right? And so I'm like thinking, and I told him this myself, I'm deathly afraid of him. Like I'm seriously afraid of him. And so I'm just looking, any good advice for me in terms of brownie points, anything I could do to win him over, anything that he's really impressed by, anything at all? I'm like trying to get prepared to be like, well, he's very fond of you.
He's really nice.
Was he really? Well, I've not met him in person. Remember now, I've had a couple conversations with him, and I interviewed him with Cal, obviously. But it's a little different. Like when you're standing in front of someone, I'm like afraid, like if I say the wrong thing, he'll scream at me, like in the movies. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, he'll yell at me. I know that's crazy, right?
No, he's
probably
a cool
not.
guy.
That's what I've heard actually, and he actually said very nice things about you. I don't know if you got a chance to listen to Cal's interview, but he was very sweet and he had very nice things. So. It's very kind. Yes, definitely. I know, right? See, they like you. That's awesome. And by the way, I heard, this is so cool, you're a vegetarian. Is that difficult to do in LA? Because as I understand it, is that the norm out there? Because I didn't think that was the case. What makes you vegetarian? I mean, is that just a family choice?
There's tons of vegan restaurants and stuff. It's not that hard. What? No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm just curious as to that only because I don't think I could go like a week I don't even think I could go 2 days without eating meat, let alone being a vegetarian. I'm like, how do you manage that? Oh, my God. Isn't that hard? No, I think it's a lot harder on the east side, though. But L.A., people are really, health conscious, and there's a lot of vegan restaurants and stuff like that. And it's not very hard. I understand. I do, definitely. Now, I want to switch gears, of course, because we want to talk about the movies you've done, because people that are listening in who may have never heard from you or about you for the first time until today,
let's go back a little bit and talk about Absolute Vow, how you got into that film, and tell us kind of the backstory about it so that people can be intrigued. Because I assume that they can go somewhere and watch this film. Is that correct? It's available online?
No, it's not out yet.
Oh, no. Well, let's talk about it anyway. It's not out yet, folks, but we're going to talk about it anyway. So can you tell me the backstory of the summary, or tell me what the film is about?
It's like a Bible epic. I'm not sure what it's about. I know the director, and he kind of just asked me to be in it for a favor.
Oh, well, look at that. And you know what, guys? I'm going to tell you right now. Sometimes some of the greatest experiences and some of the best films that are ever made are people that know one another because they have a good chemistry with each other. So that's awesome. You also did something called BC Butcher, which kind of scares me because you look so sweet, and I'm thinking your name is synonymous with horror because I've read that. Like, oh, you'd see, Parker on different horror magazines, etc. So it's a hard connection to make between you and horror, to be honest with you. You look too nice to be, like, horrific. You know what I'm talking about? Like, that whole horror thing.
Oh, my God. People always say I look so creepy.
Well, right? Do you know what I mean? So here all of a sudden I look at this and I'm like, she did BC Butcher? I'm like, ew. Okay. So, again, were you connected to that film with someone, or why did you want to do something like that?
No, that's what my sister did. I was like, barely in it, so I just saw the whole behind the scenes stuff, and I thought it was really cool. And then from there, I started acting. But yeah, she only gave me a small part because we didn't know how I'd be. I'd never done anything like that before.
Sure. And tell me something. What do you like about, because I've seen obviously a reel of yours, what do you like about what you bring to an acting performance? Meaning if somebody watches you on screen, what do you think is your number one quality as it relates to your acting? What do you find most impressive about yourself? I know it's hard to say, isn't it? But I'm kind of making you look at yourself and say, yes, I like this about me. You know what I'm saying, though?
Yeah.
I mean, I think you stand out. I'll tell you from just looking at the small bit that I did, I think what's most impressive about you is that you're poignant on screen, meaning that actresses walk on screen and they do scenes all of the time. But there's just your actual physical presence that stands out amongst other actors. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's just my
opinion. Thank you so much.
Well, no, really, go back and look at yourself. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's one of those things, and not everybody has an opportunity to be able to stand out like that. So I think that that's intriguing. I think really just you being you, the truest form of you on screen, if you continue to do that, you'll do very well, actually, because you're young and you're still starting out and all that good stuff. So, obviously we're excited for you. I'm excited to see the new projects come out. I'm excited to see the movies that you're in and actually physically watch them. I want to go through a list of different places that I found you because I was a little confused. First off, you used to have a website. Are you going to be building a new one? Or because I saw someone reference a website, but I went there and there wasn't an active site. Are you going to be rebuilding that? Or
probably eventually. I just feel like it's not necessary as now. Yeah.
I got it. Okay, great. Okay, because obviously, folks, she has an IMDb profile. Her Instagram handle is, of course, her name, which is Parker Love Bowling. She's on Twitter, which is at Parker L, the letter L, and then bowling, as in bowling game. You can find her on YouTube. And then my other question was, it looks like you have a Facebook profile, but it doesn't. Do you know what I mean by that? So are you just not active on Facebook? Okay, got it.
Oh, no, I think it's just on private because it's more of just people I know.
I understand. Okay, just because I don't want to tell the listening audience where to find you if they can't find you there, which is, obviously the case here. Mm-hmm. Yes, so I don't want to forget to mention that myself, along with Parker, along with Cal, are all going to be doing an event called Chronicon, which is on July 8th, and that's going to be from 2 in the afternoon until midnight. I'm not sure specifically what time we're going to get set up. I'll have to let you know that, Parker, because I just messaged Cal today, as a matter of fact, about that. But we're all going to be there, which means 3 things. First of all, you're going to get my son's comic book because it's a comic book convention, so I'll be selling my son's comic book. Second of all, Cal will be coming along with his cute, I love his boxes, the lock cases, the lock boxes. He'll be bringing different makes and models of those so you want to come out and meet him. If you want to cast somebody in a movie, if you want to hire someone to write for you, or they're on the other end of the phone I'm talking to, it's going to be available as well. So it's going to have a 3-for-1 all in Las Vegas, all on July 8th. I can't even talk about how excited I am. I'm totally, totally pumped up about this. I'm excited that you're coming. I didn't know until yesterday, so I'm looking forward to that. My other question to you before I let you go is I which is news that not everyone knows yet, but they will know later today. I have decided after much mulling over and having an enlightening of sorts on my last trip to New York City, I think I'm going to be starting my own magazine at the start of 2018. So you had mentioned, I know, isn't it exciting? What's even more exciting?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's something I would want to do one day.
Well, yes, and because I know that that's what you always wanted to do one day, I thought to myself, if I have the opportunity to ask Parker publicly in front of 60,000 people, I'm going to do it. So, Parker, when the time comes next year, we should sit down and discuss you contributing to this magazine. I am huge on young
Of course, that's so exciting. I would love
Oh, my
to.
God. Oh, my God. Cal comes on and he says yes. Parker comes on and she says yes. Michael Madsen's probably going to come on and say, I don't like you. But we're staying eternal here with hope. But I'm so excited. No, in all seriousness, I'm a firm advocate for if you blossom and breed individuals who want to write from the get-go and give them opportunities to do it, they just blossom. And I am all for promoting authors of all kinds, starting out those vet experience. And you sound very, very eager, and I know that you have a love of journalism, and that's important. So if I can help to foster that, I would be more than happy to have you on board. And we'll talk more about that in Las Vegas, of course. Oh, without a doubt, certainly. And please do me a favor. Keep us posted in terms of when the movies come out so I can let folks know because I have a nice-sized audience. And then obviously, of course, as it relates to the modeling and the other stuff, keep me posted on that too. And certainly, like I said, we'll talk more about that. And please do me a favor. Please say hi to Cal for me and tell him I'm looking forward to meeting him too because soon enough that will happen.
Okay, I will.
So, yes. All right, honey. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and talk to us, and I'll see you next week, and you have a great 4th of July.
Okay, you too. See you next week. Thank you.
All right, dear. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Isn't she just absolutely lovely? Parker Love Bowling is her name. Again, she has an IMDb profile. She is on YouTube. She has a Twitter handle, which is @ParkerL, as in L, the initial, and then bowling, like bowling game. And then, of course, her Instagram is @ParkerLoveBowling. And she's just absolutely lovely. As I mentioned one more time, you want to come and see myself and Cal along with Parker. We are going to be at the Comic-Con, which is the very first cannabis comic book convention taking place on July 8th in Las Vegas. You may check my show page as well as my personal page for details on the specific hotel location because, honestly, I have to look that up. Now that we've done today's show, please tune in. I'm not back on air until July 5th. I'm interviewing director Chris Notorly, who is infamously known for the Freddy Krueger tribute movies, and they are also going to be part of my film festival, which is Art is Alive Film Festival, which you can find on the Facebook page. Lastly, I want to finish off with, I want to say a huge bit of thanks to my listening audience and my fans and my followers. Thank you so much. We've had almost an increase of 900 extra followers. I have 20% in France, almost 10% in the UK. I cannot thank you enough. Without you listening, without you being part of this, I really wouldn't have a show, and I really wouldn't have any kind of support. So I am indebted to all of you. Last thing I want to remark, make sure that you check the Art is Alive Film Festival for some changes this weekend. Thanks so much to everybody once again. I'm off once again to do some other projects, but look for us back on July 5th. Thanks again to Parker for coming on today. We'll talk next week. Take care.